Chapter 42. George picked up his whip and opened the skinny bear's cage. The bear shuffled back against the wall, squatting on all fours. She stared at the bearkeeper and the boy warily, watching their movements, waiting to see if they were going to plan to hurt her. George cracked the whip. "Come on, ya!" The bear sniffed the air uncertainly. She didn't want to go anywhere. Being inside was bad, but outside was worse. She'd rather stay here, safe in her cage, protected from the world by a row of bars. "Come on!" George cracked his whip again and yelled at the bear. "Yah, yah!" The bear cringed, raising her paws to protect herself, and let out a low growl. Keeping the whip raised, threatening her, George stepped into the cage and looped a short rope through her leather collar. He tied a knot and then walked backwards out of the cage and tucked the rope. As if she'd realised that there was no point struggling, the bear meekly followed him. When the bear emerged from the cage, George did something which took Pip completely by surprise. He handed the end of the rope to him. "There you go," he said. "She's yours now." Pip took the rope. He said stupidly, "Mine?" "You like her, don't you? That's what you said when you were here before." Pip nodded. "Yes, I like her." "Then keep her. She'll be a good companion. If you're ever short of money, you can do a dance with her or fight her, and you earn a decent living. Here, take this too." George handed the whip to his son. "You'll need it." Pip held the whip in one hand and the rope in the other. He looked at the bear. He wanted to take her. Of course he did. But he didn't know what he'd do with her, where they'd sleep and where they'd live, and how much, more importantly, was he going to be in debt to his father. Anyway, he'd rather just walk out the cottage and have nothing to do with George Stone ever again. He offered the whip and the rope back to his father. "I don't think I should take her." "Of course you can." George pushed Pip's hands away. "You want her, don't you?" "Yes, but—" "Then take her." George nodded at the bear. "She likes you." "How do you know?" "Because I understand bears. When you've spent a few days with her, you'll start to understand them too." "How?" "You just will." "But how?" "Listen to her. Look at her. She'll tell you how she's feeling." "How? She can't speak, can she?" "Not in words," said George, "but she speaks in other ways. Look into her eyes. They'll tell you what they need to know. And if they don't, watch her ears. And watch her mouth. Listen to the noises she makes. She's pretty good at saying what she wants, this one. You'll just have to learn how to understand her. It won't take long, I promise. Not for a bright boy like you. Give it a few days and you'll be able to tell exactly when she's happy and when she's sad, and even when she's tired. And you'll definitely know when she's hungry. I have to warn you though, she'll be hungry just about all the time." George smiled, and for the first time that day, Pip saw an unexpected expression in his father's eyes, affection, tenderness, perhaps even love. But not for him, for the bear. "Take her," said George, "please." "Why do you want me to?" "Because you'll look after her, and you're my son. And apart from that knife, I've never given you anything. And most important of all, you want to." "I don't know about that," said Pip. "Yes, you do," said George. "Go on, Pip. Just take her." Oh, what a lovely father-son moment. I hope Pip does take the little bear. We'll have to wait and see what happens in chapter 43.